I mean, the e-privacy directive is interesting and frustrating at the same time. As a directive, as you know, it's open to the interpretation of member states when they implement the directive into member state law, which was the problem we had with the old data protection directive from 1995, and is the reason why we now have GDPR as a regulation, is to try and overcome some of those issues and have, you know, an equal state of play across all 27 member states. You know, the e-privacy directive came into effect in 2002, and the problem was that despite the fact that it seemed fairly obvious how it should have been applied, different member states applied it in different ways. So it's been incredibly difficult for supervisory authorities, or, you know, the regulators, to enforce the law. And in many member states in the EU, it's not even the data protection authority who are responsible or have the competence to enforce the e-privacy directive. It's often in many member states down to the telecoms regulator. Telecoms regulators are traditionally very business friendly. So it's been very difficult to see the law enforced. And I've been lobbying for stronger enforcement of the e-privacy directive for as long as I've been working in privacy. You know, it's been my main focus has been on this. The thing with the e-privacy directive is it really relies on the bedrock of European law, which is the principles of proportionality and necessity, right? So Article 5.3, which was the amendment made in 2009 from the Telecoms Reform Package, states that you should only access information or store information on an end user's terminal equipment if you have their consent, unless it's strictly necessary for the provision of the requested service. And that's necessary. Again, you need to consider that under the framing of EU law, what we consider as necessity. So a lot of focus of this is on cookies, which is problematic because it tends to diverge people's attention away from other technologies which are equally as dangerous from a compliance perspective, and has left the industry really in a situation now where they're scrambling to try and find solutions, because they're now being told, because we have these new powers under GDPR where we can effectively use an e-privacy complaint on the basis of consent under the GDPR, because the definition of consent comes from GDPR. This empowers the regulators to take steps that they weren't previously able to take from an enforcement perspective.